Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we've got an exciting topic to some of you, others maybe not so much, because we're going to be talking about analytics for your marketing and how to grow your business with it, and also how to retain your clients. For this, I've got George Pino. He's a CEO of Commercial Brokers International in Los Angeles and also my business partner. George, thank you for coming on today.
Thanks for having me.
So something that we do with our agents is we really want them to look at their analytics and really break down how their marketing is working. And, George, why don't you go ahead and go through the process that we utilize for our agents?
Absolutely. And, also I think it's not just the process, but I think it's also important to understand, one of my pet peeves a little bit is when someone would come to me or an agent would come to me and say, we need to reduce the price or we need to do this. And I ask them why. Yeah. And they have no answer other than I'm not getting the activity.
Well, their client's getting the same answer.
And they're getting the exact same answer, exactly. So for me, I like to use the analytics to actually show what's happening in the marketplace. It helps me to even prognosticate how to react and deal with offers that come in the future, as well as what's currently happening in the marketplace. So some of the analytics that we use, and all these are available to you on different platforms that you list the properties on. They should be available to you if you have the full suite access to CoStar, Crexi, LoopNet, and also your email blast, your systems that you're using there. So when you start looking at it, a couple things that we want to do is you want to be able to convey to your client exactly the performance of what's happening, what's going on. So for instance, on the marketing blast, we want to know how many did you send out? What was the open rate? In addition to the open rate, how many clicked through? If they clicked through, how long did they stay on, or did they request additional information on that property? So you can actually convey to the client. So if you know that perhaps the reason why this is important is, let's say you had a great email blast and your open rate is twice as high as it typically is, and you request a lot of information and yet nobody's asking to submit an offer. Right. Well, that's probably indication that the properties may be overpriced. They like the property, they like the location, they like everything about it, but they think the property's too high priced to submit an offer. So you can actually use that information to go back to your client and explain, maybe we need to reduce this.
Yeah, well, one thing that we do is after we've marketed an asset for like 2 weeks, we'll put all this data together and then we submit it to the landlord and say, here's where we're at right now.
Absolutely.
And because a lot of them are just left in the dark and they don't really know what's being done to market their property. So, it's really difficult to find a client. And then, so if you lose them, you've got to replace them, right? So this is a great way to help you retain those clients by giving them information.
Well, absolutely. Giving them the information, but also, making sure that, the last thing you want, especially if you're in this situation right now in the current economy that we're in, if we're not generating offers, they're harder to generate nowadays. You don't want your client thinking that you're not doing your job.
Right.
So, the first 2 weeks, absolutely, get it out there. But also, when you track your analytics, you want to make sure that if you see some anomalies, for instance, maybe there was a holiday that was involved. You're coming up, and that can affect the day before as well as the day after, not just the holiday. So you want to see where that traffic flow is and whether it's gaining momentum or slowing down and losing steam. So that's all part of that. But in addition to that, I like to also include in my analytics conversations. How many people did I call about this property? Who did I actually talk to about it? Were they brokers or were they other buyers? What were their comments that are coming back? This is a little bit more of a subjective.
Who showed real interest?
Absolutely, and their profile, so that we can actually understand a little bit better to position that property to get it sold quicker. Right. And this is all part of that analytical and what you want to give to them. It's not just what's on the systems, but also what you're actively doing as well. Whether it's the phone calls, whether it's personal outreach, also your social media marketing. That's something that a lot of people don't even take into consideration. Well, a lot of agents don't even do it yet, and yet it's becoming such a powerful tool that when you market on the social media, I know that whenever we get a new listing, when we put it on our social media outlets, I get at least 4 or 5 inquiries on those, if not more, and that may be that. For those 4 or 5 people, one of those may be the buyer that pays the highest price. So if you're not hitting all those, that means that they didn't see your property. So you want to make sure that you're doing that and then being able to convey that to your client.
Well, as a real estate agent, first and foremost, you are a marketing person.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
really, you're exposing their property to the market. And the more exposure you get, the better off you're going to be. So, the social, all of the social apps, you can go in and look at your analytics, and they can really break it down for you. So that's always a good ad. Now, you also have to remember that when you're going out for a listing presentation, to take some of this data and put it in your listing presentation, say, listen, when we had the last listing, this is what we did. And we got it sold for X and compared to market. And it can be a really powerful tool for also helping on getting a new listing.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, in addition to that, if you really want to delve into it, we have tools at our disposal here that, I think all agents should have, but meaning we have the ability to tell where they clicked on the email.
Oh, yeah.
So, whether it was maybe a drone photo that we embedded, they just clicked on that and looked at that. Or maybe they clicked on a more information button, or maybe they just clicked on location information. We have that ability to see what is generating that kind of interest for the people, so we can actually convey that back to the client, which is really important. And more importantly, we can also fine tune our marketing for that property, but also other properties down the road, understanding what people are clicking on and going forward on.
We're not coming at this from just brokers. We're also investors. We own property. We have actually put properties on the market. And when we went out to the broker that we hired, which was a very good broker, but a little bit older gentleman, but when we asked for the analytics and the marketing, he just kind of got a blank look on it. He goes, well, let me put that together for you. But, it'd be better if you can have that ready for your client. You can send it to them in advance, because that'd be a little bit more impressive. And so, all right, George, anything else in closing remarks?
No, I would just say that, it's understand that as an agent, as, a broker, really part of what we do in the main part of our job, other than taking out emotions, is also disseminating the information in a logical method so that our clients can understand that. We're supposed to be the professionals. So we should be able to disseminate all that information to be able to advise the client. But we can't do it if we don't have that information. So make sure that if you're a broker, your marketing team gives you this information, or you find it yourself, so that you can convey it to your client, because that's going to really put you above and beyond any other broker out there.
It will really set you apart. So, all right, George, thank you for coming in today. For those of you watching, if you could, please give us a like. And if you haven't done so, make sure you subscribe.